Whatever you want.
Sure. Have we already started?
Oh yeah.
I feel like we did. I feel like our intro has degraded. It's the same every time. It's have we started? Are we ready?
Are you
Well, welcome
surprised?
back,
I'm
folks.
surprised. Oh.
Yeah. See, now I got you. Now you're the one who messed up.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
How does that feel?
No, I always fuck up. I always fuck it up every single time. I'm like, here's my other guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Shut up.
Here's my imaginary friend.
Yeah. Just strangle me.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Hoosier Maine. It's Thursday. I am Anthony,
I'm Jared.
and we are losing our mind.
Why don't you just pull up a seat? We're going to talk about stealth games.
Yeah.
Sneak on passes.
I'm ready. You wanna start us off with one, or you want me to go?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna start right here at the top because these are these games. This list of games right here. These are some of my favorites. The Dishonored franchise of games. I want to say the first one started on the PlayStation 3 era. You know, like PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era of games, and then got like a remake, and then the second one came out, and all of that stuff. These games are literally every single character I've ever made in Dungeons and Dragons. It's every character I've ever made. Your character has these cool shadow powers that let you like teleport around or like zip people, control time, control people's minds. It's the superpowers in this game are every superpower I've ever wanted as a kid. It's so cool. All of the stealth is really cool. Now, granted, this was kind of something that we were talking about before we started rolling here. You can play these games on two branching paths. You can either be, I forget what they call it in this game, whether it's like chaos, high chaos, low chaos, whatever they call it. But you can either kill people, and that slowly starts to devolve the world, right? There's more rats. Everything gets darker. Literally, like the setting of the game starts to get darker. There's way more homeless people, and they start going crazy. Or you can be the true stealth, where you don't kill anybody. When you get to the end of the map and you go to get your target, you neutralize them in a creative way other than killing them. Then you get the light path, and there's no rats, there's no corruption, there's no poison. It's almost like you're building the city back up to what it was. I love these games. I've played all of them. I played all of the DLC. I love the Dishonored franchise. I'm very interested to hear what you have to think about these games, because I love them.
It's really funny. I've only played the first one. I meant to get around to playing the other ones. I don't have them. I think I have. Epic, I think, gave us like the third one or something random. I haven't picked it back up. But the first one, awesome, right? It's like they took the Thieves Guild and the Assassins Guild from Oblivion, and they were like, let's make a whole game based on that.
Yeah.
Like the two branching paths. I remember distinctly going, oh, I better not do a murder run first, because I'll not want to go back, because the fucking combat system, when you embrace the fucking chaos or whatever, is so crazy fun to rip through that game, just being as murderous and vile as possible to get to your target. And it's like, why did you cut me off from half of the fucking game? Play systems for the good ending or whatever. That was my one criticism of it, but it was an incredible experience. I loved that game.
I'm going to add one little final anecdote to this, because I think this is such a cool detail. The level design of these games, and I want to say it's not the same development staff, I know that, but I do know that it was the level design team, and I want to say like the character design team are the same as from Half-Life 2. So they brought over that kind of visual style and the idea of having these really cerebral, open-ended sandbox levels. It's because it's from those games, those older games. And I just love that little tidbit that, there's kind of that connection between those two worlds. I think that's so cool.
That's awesome. Just coming, like I came in from coming off the high of playing Stealth Archers in Elder Scrolls and Rogue and Warcraft. I don't remember by then, 2012. I don't know if I was still playing it at the time, but and then the Thief games. I only really played Thief 1, like maybe half of Thief 1, and then Thief 3. I played all of that through a couple times. So I was like on that high, and here comes Dishonored, and I'm like, I'm buying that. Like, definitely buying that game. Awesome stealth game. Very fun.
Yeah, these are, if you've never played these games, they normally go on sale on Steam, and I do think that's the better way to play these games is with mouse and keyboard as opposed to a controller. They normally go on sale for like $5 or something like that, and they are absolutely worth that. They are very well designed, and like you said, it is obviously much more fun to go down the violence path. I can't for the life of me remember what they call it. There's a name for it, where you essentially go on a revenge tour and kill everyone. A quick summary of the story. I don't think I did that when I was doing my portion of talking. You play as Corvo, and you are kind of like the bodyguard to the princess of this town, and assassins come in and kill her, and they frame you by using your mask when they kill her, and then they leave you behind kind of in a bloody heap, and so you get blamed for the princess's murder. And then the first game is you going on a revenge tour, killing everybody that killed the queen and stole the princess. And then the game 2, you can choose to play as the princess, or you can still play as Corvo. And the princess has different powers compared to Corvo, who is kind of like the original. I forget what they called them. They have these shadow powers, and man, I just remember the two distinct paths. You know, Corvo being all about shadow and control and manipulation, and I want to say the girl, her powers were much more about like mind control, which you know I'm all for. You know, she was much more of a wizard, and he was much more of a sorcerer. If that kind of puts you in the right frame of mind of how they cast their spells and stuff. So yeah, I love that world. I love Dishonored as a franchise. It's very fun.
Plus, it has that kind of like steampunky thing going on, which I think is a really fun. That's what really puts me back in the mindset of Thief, and I'm sure it was probably referencing it very lightly, but yeah, and, you know,
absolutely.
When did Assassin's Creed come out? Because maybe that was also in that. Now I gotta look.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Time frame.
That would have been right around there. Yeah, because it originally was an Xbox 360 exclusive. I want to say, yeah, that very well could have been right there in that window.
2007, yeah, the first one, and
yeah,
well, 2 was the one that really just took it. Ezio or whatever. That one really took that series off. 2009. So yeah, that's, I don't know. Dishonored was awesome. I kind of want to go back and play it now that we're talking about it.
Yeah, I know.
Load it up.
we were putting our list together, and I was like, yeah, that's, oh man, I could play those games forever.
I don't think I 100%ed it. I should keep adding to the list of 100% that. Go ahead.
I know. Go ahead. This is one of those games that's really fun to go watch somebody who's really good at the game, to watch them do a playthrough, because they'll just zip around using the blink teleport, and like they can do really cool manipulation stuff to get really cool kills and stuff like that. It's very fun.
The Shadow Step too. That was another thing that I remember. Shadow Dancer from 3.5 Dungeons and Dragons, and thinking it was the coolest class ever. And then Warcraft added Shadow Step for rogues, and so Dishonored running around with Shadow Step, I was like, oh, this is sick. This is so sick. I just loved that. Yeah, rolling back into Assassin's Creed, I've only played the first 2. I think you've played like a bunch of them.
Oh wow. Yeah, I've played almost all of them. This is a franchise that is kind of like a love-hate relationship, because when it first came out, they kind of pitched the promise as you're going to go through time and play as all these different time periods. And, you know, obviously the crux of the game is you are a present day person who gets into this thing, a computer called an animus, and you use memories from old warriors, and you go through time periods and you do them. Well, what ended up happening was this game exploded. It became way more popular than what they originally anticipated. They're like, we got to turn this into a trilogy. And so the Ezio story turned into 3 games as opposed to just being 1. So Altair is the first character in Assassin's Creed 1, and it's set during the Crusades. So kind of set in that Middle Eastern time period. And then Ezio Auditore is kind of in that Renaissance era. And then instead of moving on out of that and moving on to a different time period, they made 3 more games of Ezio, which granted, he was a great character and those were 3 very good games, but they kind of lingered there because they were just making so much money that they were like, we have to keep making these games, stretch this out. And I think the story really suffered because of that. And so games 2, 3, and 4 all follow Ezio. And then and also I want to say the person who is in our time, I want to say his name was like Connor or something like that.
I thought it was Desmond.
Desmond, that's what it was. Connor was Desmond is the person who's in our timeline, and then Assassin's Creed 3, the character that you play, his name is Connor. That's where I was getting confused. You saying that snapped it back in my memory. And so Assassin's Creed 3 is during the American Revolution, and you play as a Native American, Native American / African American man, which the story of that was really fun. I loved that time period. But then Assassin's Creed 4, this was the one that I was like, oh boy, you play as a pirate. And that was arguably the best game in the entire franchise. I mean, that really changed the game. It added naval warfare. You were, ever since the second one, you were dual wielding your hidden blades, but now you were also dual wielding swords. You had guns. This Assassin's Creed 4, for me, was where it really took off. And then I think it went, Rogue took place kind of after that. I want to say, I can't remember. There was Rogue and something else, and I think those were set in World War I. Those were not good games. I mean, from a technical standpoint, like they were very buggy games. And I want to say after that was, oh gosh dang it, I literally just played it. You play as a Viking, and that one, I thought the premise of that story, because essentially what happens is, the main story dies off, the main character dies off, and they have nothing else to write about, so they just start adding in characters to the story. And so kind of the reboot of the series was this Viking game, and it was very fun. The Viking portion of it was very fun, but they kind of started turning it into an RPG, and so this game was like 100 hours long. And Odyssey was the one I forgot. Odyssey, where you play as Sparta versus Greece, and there was kind of like a faction war there. And same thing, it was much more of an RPG than it was a stealth game. And though that's not what Assassin's Creed is, when you start turning it into like almost like a Diablo level up tree where you're leveling up your character and doing that stuff, and you get to like level 600 and you're at hour 100 in a stealth game, it kind of starts to lose its luster a little bit there. So yeah, I've kind of fallen off on my love of these games, but 4 was definitely the one for me where they hit their stride, and it was perfection.
It ticks a lot of boxes for you, especially with history.
Yeah.
I know that was one of my biggest things that I really loved about the first 2 was I always liked the Crusade stuff. I always thought that was my young man passion. And then when I was like college level, interested in art, and here we are in the Renaissance talking about fucking Leonardo da Vinci. I almost said Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, one and the same.
Yeah, what?
I think you and we gravitate towards those games that are like right on the edge of realism, where it's history adjacent, where you take something and it's like, yeah, this is something that really happened. What if? And then ... add in, fill in the blank, whatever. And so Assassin's Creed to me was just kind of that, what if you could go through history and you were also a rogue? You were an assassin. And so to me, that was perfect. These were my cup of tea. I love these games. Like I said, they kind of fell out of favor. I want to say like kind of that PlayStation 4, Xbox One era of games when they started doing like the French Revolution and World War One, which those are my favorite time periods in history. And yet the games were some of the worst games in the series. And so I was really disappointed by that.
It's crazy to think how old this series is.
I know.
2007. It's nearing 20 years.
I know. I very distinctly remember in college, my roommate got an Xbox 360, and we had this. We had Assassin's Creed 1, and we had Gears of War. And I remember just looking at this like wide-eyed, and I was just like, what is this? This is the best thing ever.
Gears of War was fucking awesome, too. I know we're not talking about that, but fucking... They were like,
Yeah.
we want to make fucking Warhammer, and they were like, piss off. All right, we'll do our own thing.
I'll do it myself then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. I don't know the story behind that, but it feels like they wanted to make a Warhammer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who doesn't, too? Okay?
I don't know. I definitely feel like Warhammer... We missed the ship on this, and maybe this is just me. I'm speaking for both of us, but I feel like Warhammer was much more of a European thing. And then as we got older, we kind of got into it because, the internet, and we started figuring things out from other people and stuff. But man, can you imagine if we had Warhammer in our high school circle of friends?
Oh my God.
Like being able to play that stuff? I feel like that's right up our alley.
Yeah. Every time that we look at the game rules, we're like, that does sound kind of fun. You measure, kill your guy if I'm this far away, and this does this much damage to your unit.
Yeah, and then we look at the price tag.
Yeah. That's because it's the reverse. We're going back in the history of D&D by doing that. That's wargaming. Be rolling back into chainmail or something. Anyway.
That's true. Yeah, you go ahead and take this next one because I know you're passionate about this one.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thief gets slotted right in here. Deadly Shadows is the one I spent a lot of time playing. I remember I accidentally saved over Bryce's game, and I didn't mean to. I was just trying to play the game, and like I was trying not to, because I think we only had like 2 saves, and my 2 younger brothers were playing the game, and I just wanted to try it. And I accidentally saved over his game. And then I stayed up all night to get him right back where he was and made sure he had like extra water arrows and things like that. I was like, sorry about that, man. I got you all extra stuff too. And he was like, oh, thanks, man. Man, that game was so fun. It was like a honed in, cranked on Thieves Guild run. Because I remember I'd played Oblivion. And I just loved those 2 storylines from Oblivion, which I keep yapping about because it's just fun. I just like it. If it ain't nailed down, I'm gonna steal it, and I'm not gonna kill anybody. Like that game also had that where you could like kill people or not kill people, but killing people bad. So you could knock them in the head with a blackjack, which is funny because once you realize in the real life connotations of hitting somebody in the head with a fucking stick and they don't get up. Well, I just killed them, but quietly.
Yeah.
And didn't leave a mess. But, I mean, obviously for gameplay reasons, like, well, you just knocked him out. I gave him a cerebral hematoma. He's dead.
Yeah. You're not supposed to be asleep for that long, so.
Whoops. Whoops.
Maybe I'm misremembering this, but I feel like this is an anecdote that you always talk about. Didn't they invent like a new sound system for this game where the guards could hear you? Because back then games, AI and artificial intelligence for the NPCs, it was very rudimentary compared to what we have now. And this was kind of the first instance of guards being able to not just see you, but they could also hear you as well.
Yeah, if you ever want to go down a YouTube rabbit hole about Thief 1 and how the Thief series like got going, that was what they had done. They had made like how they made it so the NPCs could perceive sound, and so you actually had to be quiet. And the light levels were really important to vision for the NPCs. It was really fun. I've played probably about halfway through Thief Gold, and what an incredible game that is. Modern games like will give you the map, give you a mini map, give you way markers and all that stuff. This game was like you're playing as Garrett, I think is his name. Very close to Geralt. Uh,
Yeah.
and he's like, obviously, he's the master thief, and he goes around stealing for money. And so he'll like for a job or stage is what it is. Like here's the level, but he's gonna pull a job, right? And so depending on what kind of information he has is how much information he has going in. And so he'll get like a hand drawn map. I mean, literally, it looks hand drawn, and he'll draw on the map like where am I or over here I've gone through here X you can't get through that or whatever. And he'll like update the map so you can pull it out and look at it. And it was just like it was so cool that like the character is having all this interaction with the information that you're gathering. It was just really fun. The story is so crazy. It feels like you're just like a thief guy and you're just stealing stuff, but really like there's this like crazy religion. In the third one, there's like a witch that has like superpowers, but the game doesn't really start out with magic, but you kind of work your way up to it. You get water arrows, you get moss arrows. You really can't win in an open fight. If you get caught by the guards and they pull their weapons to kill you, you're probably gonna die.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely that you. I mean, I think you can get good enough to parry and run, but you really just need to run away and try to hide again. Because your goal isn't to kill people. Your goal is to steal the stuff. Even when you get to the point where you're like, there's monsters, you're still just stealing the shit. Nah, I don't care about that. I'm here for the loot. And I just loved that. I thought that it was just really incredible experience. I just had so much fun with the Thief games. Still need to go back and roll through them more properly. I just kind of, my lust for stealth kind of fell off. I don't know why, but I love those games.
Yeah. I think you and I are both very much of the opinion that there is a very distinct difference between the Thieves Guild and the Assassin's Guild in in Elder Scrolls lore. Those are two very separate talent trees, skills sets, all of it. And so I think we both love that idea, but in practice, you and I both much more prefer to just be like, well, shit, they heard me. I'm going to kill them.
Shame. I know.
Yeah, well, didn't learn these spells for nothing.
I know when I'm playing it, I'm trying to role play it like real hard, and so I'll purposely run away. Skyrim, I was always kind of upset that the final Thieves Guild mission, you were allowed to kill in that mission. I just always didn't like that. Oblivion, you weren't allowed to kill. You get kicked out of the Thieves Guild if you killed anybody.
Exactly, yeah.
It was amazing. I was like, yeah, he's right. If it ain't down, I'm going to steal it, but I ain't going to kill nobody because that's murder.
Exactly.
That's what the Assassin's Guild's for anyway. That's why there's a distinction.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I feel like obviously Elder Scrolls led me into these kind of games to begin with. But, I just want to jump into the next game because I still can't believe the genre change for Styx.
Yeah.
The original game was Of Orcs and Men, incredible 2-man RPG where you play as basically a barbarian and a rogue that are on an adventure together. Oh my god. That game is incredible. I love that game so much. And then all of a sudden they were like, yeah, the cool goblin character? We made a whole series about him. His name's Styx. And you go around sneaking. And now in Styx, he does both killing and stealing because he's a goblin.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead, Styx. Kill him.
Yeah.
He does that weird stuff where he could like split off and make goblin babies. And they can do stuff and you can use this goblin. Oh, my God. It's a pretty cool game. I've not beat that game either. Again, I feel like I picked it up right when I was falling out of love with stealth games. I just was it was oversaturated for me at that point. Kind of like, pick any genre that gets oversaturated. It's like, I've played too much of this genre. I need to play something else.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
stop.
I think actually this is a game that your brother bought me. And he was like, I can't believe you haven't played this. You have to play this. Here, buy it. Or here, play it. It's like 99 cents. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll check it out. And I think we might have played it together. He and I played it together, and it was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. Yeah, I need to play this, and I need to play the sequel. And then, like you said, it got added to the endless backlog that we never attend to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I think I bought you of Orcs of Men when it was like
Yeah.
$2 or something. I fucking
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that game.
same. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
soundtrack in that game, fuck, so good. But well, rolling off this list here, I don't have a whole lot to say about Styx other than I think that if you're interested in that story, I think it's worth checking out. But the Hitman series,
Yeah.
how much of that have you played?
So I have played kind of hit or miss on this because this is one of those Sony. I don't know if it's Sony exclusive, and then they kind of switched over and branched off into Xbox. But for a very long time, these were like PlayStation exclusives. They would come out in trilogies, and then now obviously they're on modern consoles. They almost release as like a launcher, if that makes sense. And so you buy the Hitman game and then you download the maps that you want and play through them. These games are insane amounts of fun for the creative ways that you can assassinate people. And the characters are over the top, crazy. You play as Agent 47 and you'll get a target and it'll be a guy who's bench pressing on weights. And obviously you can just walk up and shoot him, right? You shoot him and then you run away and everybody goes on red alert and it's like, oh no, you shot him or whatever. Or you can walk up behind him and be like, hey bro, I'm going to spot you. You go and steal somebody's gym clothes, walk up behind him and be like, I got you, bro. Go ahead and start lifting. And then he starts lifting and then he's like, he gets stuck and it's like, you going to spot me? And you're like, nope. And then he just gets like choked out by the weights and dies that way. And it's just 1,000 different instances of that where you find costumes to blend in and then get into all of these ridiculous situations. And rather than just resorting to your gun or just straight up murdering somebody, there are even like quote unquote pacifist runs of this game where you try to kill somebody where you can logically say it's not your fault that they died. One of the examples is there's a guy who is it's a multimillionaire and he's got a diving board going off of his house down into the ocean below, and it's like a 20-story drop, and he's like, I don't know if this is safe. He's like, but I'm gonna do it. And his wife is in the pool next to him being like, don't you dare jump, like it's way too high, get back over here in the pool. Well, you can go over and get drunk with the wife in the pool, and then she passes out and there's nobody there to stop the man, and so the man jumps to his death. And it's like all of these crazy ridiculous ways of doing this, and like the payoff is some crazy wild story of Agent 47. These games are amazing. I love them.
I've only ever seen my youngest brother play these games, and he loved Hitman. He loved the Hitman series. And the only anecdote I have about Hitman is the movie, which I don't know if people like, but I always kind of liked it. It's like the Max Payne movie. I've not really played Max Payne, but I liked the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wrong, Jared, wrong.
Doing it backwards. Yeah, the Hitman series of games. This is a weird one to recommend because I think this is a little bit more niche than everything else on this list. Like, this is a game where you can't. I'm thinking of these other games first and foremost. Dishonored, Assassin's Creed, Thief. Maybe not Thief, but Styx certainly there's kind of a story, that's driving you forward. This is why you're doing this. This is why you're doing that. Hitman is much more dropping into a sandbox and being like, this is the person you're going to kill. You don't know why or how or anything behind it. You're just doing it to have fun. And so there's much less connecting story, at least in the newer games. In the older games, there was kind of a branching story, but it was very loose. You know what I mean? It was like, you're killing this guy because he's in the mob or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it didn't matter. In that's not why you're playing those games. So this one's kind of more play it if you're the type of person who can just pick up a controller and have fun. It's honestly a really fun game to play in like a group and pass the controller and be like, see if you can beat it. But there's no story or anything like that as far as motivation for doing the things that you're doing.
I can just imagine you. I see the vision.
Yeah, exactly. There's in the most recent one, there's one where Jean-Claude Van Damme clones himself 24 times or something like that, and you have to kill all 24 clones. And it's like, okay,
Oh my god,
it's like, okay, why not?
that's so absurd.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, well, yep, I'll do it.
Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Again. And here I thought Hitman and Metal Gear were closer in DNA than I thought.
No.
See, I don't know. Never played it. Never really played it. But you can't talk about any stealth games without talking about Metal Gear Solid.
Absolutely.
Specifically. Of course, we are wanting to build up to a whole deep dive onto that game, so we're not going to go into tons of detail here. But if you've never played a Metal Gear Solid game, they are stealth or option. The stealth is optional. The game kind of. I still think it's fairly optional.
Yeah,
Right?
I agree. I agree with that. It's meant to be played as a stealth game, but you can very easily play it as a action game. And actually, I think the remake of 3 just came out, the Metal Gear Solid Delta. I think it either just came out or is about to just come out. One of those two.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've never played Metal Gear Solid game, I absolutely recommend them. They're all
like
incredible games. Yeah. They're all incredible.
It's like an interactable movie.
It really is, yeah.
I love it. Anyway, we don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that. I think you should bring up your favorite.
Oh yeah, this is kind of my soapbox. You know, I think you have Pokemon, you have Legend of Zelda. Those are your soapboxes that at any time, just naming them, you could go on a rant for hours about them. This is my soapbox game, and it's The Last of Us. And the first one is kind of very rudimentary stealth. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's the whole point of the game, is that there are some enemies that you can't fight. The clickers are one-hit kills on you. The only way that the game literally tells you have to stealth around these guys. But then in the very next room, they put you in a room with clickers and runners. So it's like, well, wait a minute. I can't fight these guys. And yet here you are telling me, I have to fight these runners because that's how you beat them. You shoot them. How do I do this? And so I think this is a perfect example of a zombie game doing what is correct, which is the way that zombies win is by overwhelming you. And these games are incredible. The storytelling is incredible. You genuinely care about Joel and Ellie, and obviously all of the supporting characters that go along with that. But these games are. I almost feel like we needed to do a deep dive on this. This really is kind of like my Legend of Zelda, in kind of the PlayStation verse. And so yeah, these. I don't want to go on another rant because I know I've talked about this game like 5 times on the podcast, but I think this is a very good example of the game progressively giving you tools and then letting you experiment with them. Zombies are zombies. I literally think there's maybe like 4 enemy types in the first game. And I had fun playing all the way through the game because you have all of these different opportunities to solve the puzzle, right? And the puzzle is get your people from point A to point B without dying. And I had a ton of fun. And that's the point of a stealth game is, can you survive getting from point A to point B without being seen? And yeah, that's my little mini soapbox rant of The Last of Us. I really do. I think that would be a fun series to do a deep dive on. Obviously, Metal Gear Solid comes first. That's obviously what we're working on next. I'm petitioning for The Last of Us to get a
you don't have to
dive.
petition. We can just do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're in charge here, not you.
Yeah. Not you. Whoever you are.
Yeah, not you.
Not you.
Yeah.
You.
Not you.
We're
you.
just pointing at each other.
Yeah.
Last of Us is definitely on that list. I know you and I have had long talks about that game, and I know we're kind of. I feel like that's why we grouped them together on the list like this, because we figured we would spend a short amount of time on this, only to come back, give it its due,
Yeah.
I know that Last of Us is a pretty well critically acclaimed PlayStation game. I remember it was handed to me by Lemon, saying I needed to play it before I had my kids, and I don't know. It must have just been a very emotional time for me when I got that PS4 because I remember the intro wasn't too bad, but it was when I stealth knifed some guy that I was like, whoa, I don't think I can play this. No, the emotional part at the beginning didn't fuck with you. It was the fucking rando guy that you just knifed in the neck. Yeah. Yeah.
It's very graphic. I remember this on the PlayStation 3. Granted, that's a long time ago. The PlayStation 3 was a long time ago. This was one of the very first games where, I mean, it was graphic, like violent. When the zombies kill you, they rip you apart. When you kill a zombie, you rip them apart. It's when you fight humans, and you, like, let's say you're fighting a group of nameless NPCs. These people don't matter, and you kill one of them, or you shoot them in the leg. They'll be like, "Oh no, you got Bill or whatever," and it's like, "Come on, they're over here. They're in the house." And then you'll kill one of them, and it's like, "No," the NPCs will be yelling like, "No, they got him." Like, you're right. I think this game really wants you to feel the humanity of a zombie apocalypse, and it's graphic, it's violent, it's gory, it's gross. You have to become a bad person to win, and that's the point of the game. The Last of Us is inferring like the last of humanity in a zombie apocalypse. Well, Ellie, the girl, the naive, childish girl, is the last of good, right? Even Joel is not a good person. Like, the game straight up tells you the period between, where we start playing the game after the, obviously after the prologue, the introduction, the time period between that and when we start playing the game, Joel does unspeakable horrors to get to where he is. He's a bad person. He's a bad guy. When we take control of him, you are going on a mission to get guns back that you are smuggling into a quarantine zone that are probably going to be used for a gang or for the Fireflies, who are in direct opposition of the people who are protecting you. And so you are playing the worst of humanity and also the best of humanity in Ellie. And so, yeah, I mean, like, there is no way to play that game and not be like, "Oh my God, what did I just do?" Why would you do that? Well, you're doing it to survive. And so, yeah, it's very gross. It's very gross. It's very gory. And for some reason, like, partial gore is more gross to me than, like, if you cut somebody's leg off, it's like, oh, gross. But if you, like, cut somebody's leg halfway off and it dangles there, that is so much worse to me for some reason. Or, like, you shoot a zombie in the head and it blows their head off and it's like, oh, gross. But if you shoot a zombie in the face and it blows a chunk of their face off or, like, their jaw off, that is so much worse for some reason. And that's what that game is. I mean, even on the PlayStation 3, that's what that game was.
And then we go and play Dead Island 2, and then we're jacking people in the jaw, and that game is funny.
Awful.
Oh!
Yeah, well,
yeah,
the tone of that game is much lighter and much more funny. But yeah, it's objectively gross. And you're justifying it by saying, like, oh, well, they're zombies, they're already dead or whatever. It's a human body that you're doing that to. And it's disgusting.
With the acid
it's gross.
baseball bat and watching the dude melt.
Oh,
I'm like, oh,
yeah,
that's fun. This is fun.
I enjoyed it. I liked that. Yeah.
Obviously, we need to talk about some zombie games. But we're trying to talk about stealth games. What other stealth games should we mention on here? We're nearing time. I feel like we talked about Metal Gear Solid. I wanted to talk about the kind of spin-off of Metal Gear Solid for the Game Boy Advance. It felt like the team behind Metal Gear Solid wanted to make another stealth game, but they didn't want to make Metal Gear because it would look hokey on. I have no idea what they thought. So they made this game called Boktai, and it plays almost identically as far as how you move around and such to Metal Gear. It's same team, right? And so you're a vampire hunter, and you have this solar gun that you have to aim up at the sky to recharge its solar power, and you're there to like kill. Maybe it's Dracula. I don't remember. It's been a while since I played these games. But really interesting thing about it was you actually it actually had a solar cell on the game pack, and so if you were outside, then it would cause the in-game stuff to have like the sunlight coming in through the windows and stuff. But you could cover it up strategically and lure enemies into the sunlight, and then like blow them up or whatever. But it was so cool. I know that they put the soul gun, whatever it's called, in Metal Gear Solid 4, which was really cool. I still wish to this day that they made they put that on a main console. That would have been so cool to see a Vampire Hunter fucking Metal Gear Solid style game like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my honorable mention for this list. I know the other one for Lemon would be, but what's your honorable mention on here?
Well, I'm looking at this list, and as funny as this is going to sound, we've got Splinter Cell, Far Cry, Amnesia, Batman Arkham games. The game I want to talk about is Untitled Goose Game, because this was an absolute joy to play. You can beat the entire thing in a couple hours. I mean, it's not a long game at all, but it's kind of like a combination between a puzzle game and a stealth game, where you play as a goose, and your goal is to steal things from the local villagers and bring it back to your nest. And that's all you do. And you have 2 buttons. You can honk at them, and you can flap your wings at them. And that's it. And it's incredible. It's so fun. It's very much a kind of like what's it called? I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I'm trying to call it a Rubik's Cube, and that's not what I'm thinking of. The where you have things go off in a chain reaction, and each thing sets off the next thing, and then at the end it does, like, it finishes off the. Gosh dang it! What is that called?
Rube Goldberg.
Rube Goldberg. It's that's what it is. You're setting off these little chain events that allow you to progress to the next level. It's like, oh, I need to open up this gate. This farmer has a gate that's locked, and I need to open it. But in order to open it, I need to get his key. And in order to get his key, I have to figure out a way to turn off his hose, because he's working in his garden and he's watering his plants. So I got to turn off the hose. The way you got to turn off the hose is you got to go to the shed, and you've got to knock over some things so that they turn off the hose. But then by knocking things over, you're creating noise. It's just this like insane way of doing, like, getting to the thing that you want to get to. And every step of the way is just this like incredibly charming and fun game where you literally just play a goose that can't talk or speak or do anything except for be annoying. And it's so fun.
My favorite quote from other gamers that played this game was, "You mess with the honk, you get the bonk."
Yes, exactly.
Oh man, yeah, that. Yeah, and I know Lemon would be in here. He'd be saying Batman Arkham. What an amazing little series on stealth and action. It had it all. It really did feel like you were playing the Bat in that.
Yeah.
And fucking Amnesia, very much a stealth. Holy fuck.
Incredible horror game, yeah.
Yeah. My God, was that game scary. No weapons for you. It's like Clock Tower. I don't know if you ever played that. I didn't play that either.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, I feel like there was a bunch of games kind of all around that same time period where they were, like Japanese-made games that when they got ported over to us, it was kind of like we didn't get to experience them to their full credit or as good as they were. And then as we got older, and we could kind of branch out and get the games that we wanted, because when you're a kid and you're choosing between Amnesia or Legend of Zelda, what are you going to pick? Well, I'm going to pick Legend of Zelda every time. Are you going to pick Mario 64 or are you going to pick Amnesia? Well, you're going to pick Mario 64, And so, but then when you get older, you kind of have a palate for those things, and you can kind of go back and appreciate those things that you couldn't as a kid. And that's kind of where my love for those games really kind of spawned.
Yeah. But I think that we're at time here, folks.
Ugh.
We had more on this list, but it's very near the end of it.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll come back. We'll revisit stealth, but I know we want to spend a good amount of time talking about some zombie games. Maybe next time. Time.
Absolutely.
What do you have anything for the folks at home? Anything to say?
Yeah, I got one thing. See ya.